Hej, siemano wam wszystkim ludzie, z tej strony Arturo, witam was na swoim kanale i kontynuujemy Lost Horizon. Znajdujemy się w zamku, musimy dostać się na wieżę północną. Niestety, Fenton nie ma zielonego pojęcia, gdzie ona się znajduje. Znaczy inaczej, kiedy wyjdziemy na zewnątrz, mamy lewą wieżę i prawą wieżę.
The inventory list I saw in the library says that the items the Tula Society is studying, including the Piri Reis map, are located in the castle's north tower. But which way is north? I need to find out before anyone cottons onto me.
No właśnie, nie mamy zielonego pojęcia, w którym kierunku jest usytuowana północna wieża. Mamy tylko informację, że jest to lewa wieża i prawa. Z tyłu też jest jakaś wieża. Ale możemy po raz kolejny spojrzeć na wioskę.
The village church. Wait a moment. Churches always point west, don't they? With the altar in the east. The main entrance is facing away from me. So, looking at the church, the two small towers to my left and right must be on the east-west axis. So the north tower must be on the other side of the castle. But how am I supposed to get all the way over there?
No przez komin, tak mi się przynajmniej wydaje. Ale kiedy zeszliśmy na dół do warsztatu, mamy tutaj drabinkę. Znajduje się komin. Niestety, kiedy próbuję to zagasić, Fenton nie chce tego wykonać. Mamy skórę nasączoną wodą z cytryną. Możemy to z tym połączyć.
I think I can safely put the fire out now. I'll just throw the skin over.
A, czyli teraz się udało.
Great, the fire's out. Though it now smells like a wild pig's marital sty in here.
Musieliśmy się dowiedzieć, która wieża jest północna. No dobra. Ale w jaki sposób miałbym wejść na górę?
Now the fire's out, I can see the ladder rungs more clearly. They definitely lead up to the roof. The ladder rungs are still too hot to hold.
Ale my w ekwipunku mamy żelazne rękawice.
The gloves should protect me from the heat, climbing up the chimney to steal people's treasured possessions. I'm like the anti-Santa, only trimmer. Luckily, I'm not afraid of heights, or as we've established, anything at all. Apart from our Garleys. And Kim, when she's in a huff.
No ja myślę, że w takiej pogodzie chodzenie po dachu nie jest rozsądne, tym bardziej, że mamy burzę. Co prawda są to jakieś piorunochrony, ale i tak obstawiam, że gdyby piorun miał uderzyć, no to uderzyłby właśnie Fentona. Jest północna wieża. Jeszcze przy takim silnym wietrze, że tak utrzymuje równowagę. Wow, jestem naprawdę pełen podziwu. No i że nie ma lęku wysokości. Ja nawet do tego okienka po drabinie bym nie wszedł. Zaraz mam nogi jak z waty, trzęsą mi się jak galareta. Nie mam jakiegoś takiego specjalnie lęku wysokości, mogę latać samolotem. Tam, gdzie czuję się po prostu bezpieczny, tam mogę wejść. Ale jeżeli po drabinie miałbym wejść na górę i nie czułbym tej stabilności pod nogami, o nie, nie ma szans. W pracy mamy też taki podnośnik. Kiedyś mnie kolega podniósł na samą górę. Nie, to nie dla mnie.
I'll try to get in through one of the windows. Okay, I've reached the North Tower, but I don't see any ancient research objects or artifacts. The inventory said the items are kept in the crypt. Thinking about it, this doesn't really look like a crypt to me. It must be one floor lower. I'll have to find a way down.
No pierwsze, co rzuca się w oczy, to ta korba na ścianie. Kamienna płyta, drzwi. Oknem weszliśmy i oknem zapewne będziemy mogli też wyjść.
The North Tower Crypt. This is where all the Tula Society's research objects are supposed to be held. I've got to get down there.
Najprościej chyba by było spróbować przez drzwi.
It's locked.
Tu też jest jakaś wnęka w ścianie. Być może jakiś schowek.
Let's see if the crank handle still works.
Okej. Korba opuszcza żyrandol w dół. Żyrandol idealnie pasuje w ten otwór w podłodze.
The chandelier is now lying in the center of the symbol on the floor. It's damn heavy. I ought to use the crank if I want to get it back up.
Czyli obstawiam, że coś musimy zrobić przy tej kamiennej płycie.
A round stone slab with some kind of occult symbol. This slab's separate from the rest of the floor. I can see the seam running along the edges. That said, I can't lift it with my bare hands.
No dobra, co my mamy w ekwipunku? Mamy gwintowany hak.
There's nowhere to screw it.
Nie ma miejsca, żeby to wkręcić, ale mamy ręczną wiertarkę.
Let's attack this thing.
35 minut później.
There, I've drilled a small hole.
Wow, długo wiercił. No ale była to robota ręczna.
I've screwed the hook into the drill hole. It's lodged pretty tight.
Świetnie, przykręciliśmy hak, więc obstawiam, że teraz ten hak zahaczy się o żyrandol i płyta podniesie się w górę.
Fenton, you old dog, you've done it again. The chandelier is attached to the hook, which is screwed into the slab in the floor. When I turn the crank, the whole thing comes away. Shame there's nobody here to congratulate me.
Mamy otwór.
Ah, there's a cable here. Maybe I can climb down on it. Hopefully it'll take my weight. Looks like I'm in the right place, finally. Not that I'm complaining.
Fenton, zasady BHP chyba ciebie nie dotyczą. Najpierw chodziłeś po dachu w okropnym deszczu i burzy. Teraz chodziłeś po kablach energetycznych.
I climbed down on this cable. Lucky it held my weight.
To cud, że jeszcze żyjesz. Mamy jakieś pulpity, pudełka, kolejne drzwi. No i coś, co wygląda jak basen w podłodze.
There's a sort of dossier on this podium. I'll just skim it quickly. It outlines the Tula Society's central objectives. According to this, the society was founded in the early 1920s with the aim of restoring the knowledge of lost civilizations for its own use. The Tula Society's influence extends into the highest echelons of the German Reich. This gives them complete carte blanche on their activities. They can do whatever the hell they like. Seems they launched a project codenamed Vril under the direction of our old friend, Countess von Hagenhild. The focus of this project is the search for Shambhala. The Tula Society believes that a vast store of ancient knowledge is being hoarded there. The source of morphogenetic fields. Morphogenetic fields? Never heard of them. But then it does ring true with what Professor Hayes was talking about, a store of ancient knowledge. If I remember the professor's description correctly, the hunters and herders of Shambhala suddenly developed into a flourishing and highly advanced society. Hayes reckons some sort of mysterious energy was responsible for the tribe's development. Is that what they mean by morphogenetic fields? These documents contain the research results of a scientist by the name of Aldrich von Hagenhild. Must be some relative of the Countess. Von Hagenhild spent his time searching for the world soul. Christ, can't these people just use sensible names? The basis for von Hagenhild's research was the concept that for an organism to develop as it should, there must be some immaterial power steering it in the right direction. Basically an invisible blueprint determining form and growth. So, why does a rabbit develop the way it does? And why does a pine tree become a pine tree? Who's the architect? What tells them to grow bark? Or fancy lady rabbits? Looks like these questions led von Hagenhild to believe there was some invisible, imperceptible field that controls the development of an organism. He called it morphogenetics. Von Hagenhild explains the holistic aspect of self-organizing systems with his theory of morphogenetic fields. Basically, The field stores forms or behavioral patterns that every member of a species draws from and adds to. This was his Western take on something the East had known for some time. In Far Eastern philosophy, people refer to his morphogenetic fields as the divine essence of nature, or as the soul. He thought he'd identified the soul. He didn't think the soul was a spiritual thing. He thought it was a fundamental principle of nature that had been warped and confused by religions the world over. He even thought he had proof. He refers to certain experiments he carried out. Ugh. This is a lot of information to take in. Von Hagenhild really believed that in these morphogenetic fields, he'd identified the soul, the central power behind all living things. These documents refer to several experiments which are supposed to prove the existence of morphogenetic fields. Von Hagenhild wanted to prove that every species obtains its entire being, its form, its instincts, from these fields, like some kind of collective memory. These inherited memories control not just the form, but also the behavior, the capabilities, and the knowledge of the relevant species. He called it a group soul. Experiment number 1, the rat experiment. The experiment investigated the capability of rats to find their way through a maze. At the beginning of the experiment, the rats needed 165 attempts before they could get through the maze without a mistake. But a few rat generations later, the number of attempts had dropped to 20. Conclusion. The first batch of rats learned how to navigate the maze, and this instinct was somehow added to the rat's group soul. When later rats navigated the maze, they somehow had access to this ancestral memory, even if the rats weren't directly related. Experiment number 2. The ape experiment. 2 ape colonies of the same species were isolated and observed on 2 small islands in the Indian Ocean. Von Hagenhild's team taught the apes on one island a few new behavioral patterns. The other colony was left undisturbed and uninfluenced, so while the apes on the first island are learning how to open tins and the like, the others are eating bananas. Several months later, the apes on the undisturbed island began displaying these new skills, even though they'd never come into contact with the other colony. Von Hagenhild's conclusion: all members of a species are connected by morphogenetic fields. They share a subconscious collective memory. He thought this theory could explain a lot. Animals' sense for impending danger, telepathy, sixth sense in humans. Von Hagenhild also concludes that members of a group can learn something new at a far quicker pace when the vast majority of members of that same group have already acquired the knowledge. These fields are basically stores of information that are effective across space, and in rare cases even time. Von Hagenhild presumes this would go some way towards explaining premonitions. Human beings sporadically accessing morphogenetic fields from varying points in the future. It all sounds very far-fetched, but then it does explain a lot. Supposing morphogenetic fields really exist, they'd be the answer to problems science has been trying to solve for centuries. And if all these fields add up, if there's some kind of central repository of all this information, Christ, it'd basically be the scientific definition of God. I'm beginning to understand why the Tula Society's quite so interested. And if there's even the slightest chance it's all true, why they need to be stopped.
To tak samo jak ze starożytnymi plemionami, które nigdy nie miały ze sobą styczności, a mimo to budowle, które postawiali, miały podobną konstrukcję. No i mamy ostatni pulpit.
Is this the Piri Reis map? It's hand-drawn, ancient. There are some notes next to it. Finally, von Hagenhild became convinced that there must be a type of definitive field from which all other fields are derived. All manifestations have an origin. He tried to back this up with historical evidence. A world soul, for instance, had been proposed by Plato over 2,000 years ago. But what really convinced him was the discovery of an old, mysterious map of the world, drawn by the Ottoman general Piri Reis. I knew it! It's the map! Let's see. Further on in the text, von Hagenhild discovered that the general had drawn up the map in the 16th century, using sources which were thousands of years old. But how could they have known at that time what the world looked like? He posed the theory that a civilization had existed then, which possessed extraordinary knowledge and skill. He discovered a marking on the map, which was written in an unfamiliar language. Research in Far Eastern libraries revealed it was a long-forgotten Tibetan script. Once translated, it claimed the marking indicated the source of all knowledge, the center of the morphogenetic fields. It was a hidden valley in the Himalayas, Shambhala. Shortly before he died in 1934, von Hagenhild passed the responsibility of continuing the research onto his daughter. Professor Hayes was right about everything. The Tula Society arrived at the exact same conclusion as he did. They were just one step ahead. Lucky I'm one step more. Richard used the first key to pass through the gate in that secret room in the monastery. I just need to find the second. The Nazis can't enter Shambhala without it, and as it happens, I have the eye, and I have the map. I just need to use them to find the location of the second key. My last hope of finding Richard is based on an ancient legend. Great. It's time to cross everything I've got. And I mean everything.
No dobra, czyli rozumiem, że oko smoka musimy połączyć z pulpitem.
Fingers crossed. I've come all this way, but I'm still a little surprised it actually worked. The Piri Reis map really is the map of the Guardians of Shambhala. Or at least it was drawn to their specifications. So Professor Hayes was also right in thinking the priests of Shambhala took the second key artifact to India and hid it in a temple there. And now I know exactly where to look. On the Kathiawar Peninsula, just north of Bombay. Thinking about it, I actually know the commander of the British regiment in Rajkot. If the old drunkard hasn't been transferred for disciplinary reasons again, I'm sure he'll lend me a hand. Or at least a decent bottle. Then I'll just have to find the temple and get hold of the key artifact. What could be simpler?
Rozdział 6. Oko tygrysa.
Looks like the road ends here. This village is supposed to be the last settlement. Other than that, there's nothing but thick jungle in every direction. The commander of the local troops led me this far. But now I need to quiz a local about the temple. I have no idea where it is. Hello? Hello? Jesus, where is everyone? Looks like this place was abandoned pretty recently. Hello? Is anybody there?
The Nazis can't have been here already. Can they? Damn it. I'll have to find the temple on my own.
Wioska wygląda na opuszczoną, ale spójrzcie, mamy ślady krwi. Być może coś się złego tutaj wydarzyło, że ludzkość nie przeżyła. Wiązka trzciny.
There are some reeds lying here. Looks like the villagers use them to thatch their huts.
Okej.
I've already got some. I can come back for more later. A bundle of dry reeds.
Mamy tutaj palenisko, więc prawdopodobnie tą wiązkę będę mógł tutaj włożyć i rozpalić ogień. Duże drzewo.
It's a tree. It's a big tree. There are leaves on it? I don't know.
Bambusowa rurka.
I'll take that cloth with me too. I loved climbing trees when I was a boy. The taller, the better. Nowadays, I tend to only do it when I have to. Like when I'm being chased. Or when I'm bored.
Wiązka trzciny do drogi. Ale zanim gdziekolwiek pójdę, jeszcze chcę się tutaj rozejrzeć. Plamy krwi.
Feathers, blood. It's clear what happened here. Some huge winged monster had a nosebleed. Or a chicken got eaten. One of the two.
Pióra kurczaka.
A man can never have enough feathers. Feathers, blood. It's dried up in the heat. The blood dried up hours ago. I can't soak it up.
No dobra, gliniany dzbanek, kosz. No, sporo przedmiotów tutaj możemy zabrać. Jest też jakieś białe futerko. Wygląda jak kozioł.
An empty, tattered basket. Oh no, I stand corrected. There are some stones in here. Fantastic.
Gładkie kamienie. Prawdopodobnie są to krzemienie.
2 smooth, sparkling stones. They look rather valuable. An empty, tattered basket. The jug's broken, but I could still use it as a container.
Czyli tak, mamy zniszczony gliniany dzbanek. Coś prawdopodobnie będziemy gotować na palenisku.
What is that? It's a small goat. It appears to be hiding underneath the hut. Well, no, it's definitely hiding underneath the hut. I can see it from here.
No jak widział taką rzeź, która się tutaj działa, no to się nie dziwię, że się chowa. Ale dalej nie widzę nikogo, z kim bym mógł porozmawiać. Opuść wioskę. I teraz pytanie, czy chcemy opuszczać wioskę, czy iść do drogi?
I'll just take a short wander into the jungle. Maybe the villagers are out foraging or whatever it is villagers do.
Hey, you there! Where do you think you are going?
Christ! You frightened the life out of me! What the hell are you doing hiding in there?
Get away from the edge of the jungle. Come here!
What's wrong?
Don't ask, just do what I say.
Have I done something wrong? Sorry, I didn't mean to sneak around. I just wasn't sure where everyone had got to.
There's a man-eater about.
A what?
Doesn't anything strike you as strange around here?
Well, yes.
He came into the village last night while we were sleeping.
Who?
The man-eater. Listen to me. The beast is still out there. I can feel it in my bones.
And you're the only survivor?
No, during these months, only women, children, and old people live in the village. The young men work on the tea plantations. When he came, there was no one here to protect us. Those who could walk packed their things and left this morning.
What sort of animal are we talking about here? I'm, something of an expert.
A tiger, what else?
A tiger?
It was no normal tiger, it was a man-eater. Tigers normally avoid settlements. They hunt in the jungle. But now and again, a few of the particularly hungry ones stray into the villages. I remember the old stories from my childhood. When a man-eater has picked out a village, he stalks it for days until he can strike again.
When you put it like that, it does sound kind of scary. But I have a very important task, and I'm looking for someone who can help me.
What brings you here, stranger?
I'm looking for an old monastery, or a temple. Do you know anywhere around here that fits the description?
As a matter of fact, there is an old temple nearby.
Great. How do I get there? Could you show me?
You may have no instinct for survival, stranger, but I wish to retain what is left of my life. I cannot leave the village until the man-eater is dealt with.
Okay, tell you what. I'll have a look around and think of something. If I deal with the tiger, will you lead me to the temple?
Take my word for it, stranger.
Great. It's a deal.
Be careful out there.
Świetnie, czyli będziemy walczyć z tygrysem. Opuść wioskę.
There's thick jungle in every direction, save for a small trail leading southwest.
Wioska. Ścieżka, dżungla.
No idea where this path leads, but if I stay on it, at least I won't get lost. Probably.
Mamy też jakiś znak zapytania. Cel nieznany.
I'll follow the path leading out of the village so I don't get lost. Let's see where it leads to. What is
Okej.
that sound? Christ, there really is a tiger out there. I never knew they sounded like that. Thinking about it, I'm not a vet, but this guy might be injured. No doubt he'd still eat me given half a chance. I should stay out of his way.
Bagno i ranny tygrys.
That's the man-eating tiger I'm supposed to be dealing with. It sounds like it's in pain. Cats. Bloody things have been following me around ever since Hong Kong. They just keep getting bigger. But seriously, what am I going to do once I've got his attention? Other than feed him my innards.
W jakiś sposób będziemy musieli mu pomóc. Grzyby.
I don't know anything about mushrooms, but that's no reason not to pick them. If they taste foul, I can just throw them away.
Być może są to trujące grzyby.
Ugh. Leeches, dysentery, mud. Not very enticing.
Mamy też wrak samolotu.
The tiger's still back there. I probably shouldn't do anything to attract his attention. I've seen a worryingly large number of plane wrecks in the last week. At least this one wasn't my fault. As far as I know.
Liana.
It's pretty thick. I can't just pull it down.
Dobra, co my mamy w ekwipunku? Gładkimi kamieniami liany nie zerwę. Bambusowa tyczka. Wiecie co, tak patrzę na te przedmioty, które mam w ekwipunku, typu bambusowa tyczka, wiązka trzciny i tak dalej. I wydaje mi się, że będę musiał zrobić zatrutą strzałkę i strzelić w tego tygrysa. W jakiś sposób go uśpić. Ale chyba przy tym samolocie i tej lianie nic na tą chwilę nie mogę zrobić. Cofnijmy się zatem do starca.
Hello?
Yes? Any luck in hunting the tiger?
Tak, widziałem tygrysa, nie wyglądał na zadowolonego. Znalazłem w dżungli dziwne grzybki, są jadalne. Znalazłem 2 czarne kamienie, mam nadzieję, że są wartościowe. Może da się coś z tym zrobić.
Yes, I saw the tiger. You're right. He's still lurking about.
Told you so.
I think I know why it came into the village last night as well. He looks injured. He's out in the swamp making sad noises. Would that explain why he's acting so aggressively?
Quite possibly. But regardless, I am staying in my hut. And don't go getting any wild ideas yourself.
But I promised to help.
As you please. Is there anything else?
Chciałem tylko ponownie rozwiązać twoje obawy dotyczące tygrysa.
Is there any chance I can convince you to come out for just 10 minutes? The tiger's out in the swamps. I don't think he really poses a threat.
I forgot I was the tourist and you were the local. Believe me, it poses a threat.
All right. I'm on it.
Znalazłem w dżungli dziwne grzybki, są jadalne?
I found these mushrooms in the jungle. Are they edible?
I would only eat them if you have sleeping problems. These mushrooms contain a natural sedative. We use them to treat minor injuries. But I have heard of a Brahmin who performs operations on injured animals and sedates them with the poison from these mushrooms during the operations.
Interesting. So you just chuck them down the creature's throat?
No, the sedative must get into the bloodstream. The mushrooms are cooked and the juice that escapes is then injected. It requires a bit of experience to get the dosage right. Too much of the stuff could knock out a huge water buffalo, never mind a small pet.
No problem. Caution is my middle name.
Okej. Znalazłem 2 czarne kamienie, mam nadzieję, że są wartościowe.
I found these stones in the village square. I don't suppose they're, valuable by any chance?
No. These are flint stones. Keep them by all means.
Oh, well thanks anyway.
Może da się coś z tym zrobić.
I'll see what I can do.
Good luck.
Dobra, czyli wiemy, że grzyby są trujące. Spróbujmy rozpalić palenisko.
They should go up nicely. The reed's caught. The logs shouldn't be far behind.
Okej.
In you go. If the old guy is telling the truth, I can boil these mushrooms into some kind of natural sedative. That was quick. There's a dark sap oozing out. It's too hot to remove with my bare hands. I should be able to hook the jug without burning my fingers.
Czyli tak, mamy dzbanek ze środkiem usypiającym, ale w jakiś sposób musielibyśmy zrobić też strzałeczkę.
An empty, tattered basket.
Potrzebowałbym kawałka jakiegoś patyka.
A bundle of dry reeds.
I need to stay here and look for the key artifact.
No dobra. Duże drzewo. Chatka. Plamy krwi. Ale nie widzę nic tu więcej, co bym mógł podnieść. No jest też ten biedny koziołek. Wpadłem jeszcze na pomysł, żeby szmatkę zamoczyć w wodzie, ale nie mogę tego wykonać. Dobra, wydaje mi się, że coś przy tej lianie będę mógł zrobić.
I've seen a worryingly large number of plane wrecks, at least this. It's pretty thick. I can't just pull it.
Może coś będę mógł na tym je nagórzyć. No ale chyba nie. W jaki sposób dostać się do tego samolotu? O, zioła! Wcześniej ich nie widziałem.
A pleasant, spicy odor. Might actually taste good. Christ, when was the last time I ate?
Mam wrażenie, że jeszcze jakiegoś przedmiotu mi brakuje. Dżungla.
It looks pretty impenetrable. I'd need a guide to find my way through. I think I'll stay on the path for the time being.
Mogę się poruszać jedynie po dżungli i po wiosce. Mamy zioła.
He looks hungry. Goats eat green things, don't they?
O,
Okay, little guy. Fancy an adventure?
wziąłem kozę. Ta koza może posłużyć za przynętę. Kawałki garnka.
A few sharp-edged pottery shards.
O, może będę mógł teraz przeciąć lianę. Nie? Jednak nie.
The basket's already broken, so I might as well finish cutting it up. I've dismembered the entire thing. All that's left are these thin sticks of wood and the hemp stitching.
O, świetnie.
I can tie one of the pottery shards to one of the sticks.
Patyk z grotem.
Tranquilizer dart. Great idea. If, of course, this was anything like a professional dart. As it stands, I just can't imagine it flying straight. One step at a time, I guess. Great. I'll use a few fibers from the hemp cord to make fletching for the dart. I'll dip the tip in the homemade tranquilizer. Voila! A perfect tranquilizer.
Sznur. Sznur mogę połączyć z małą kozą.
I'll tie a piece of the cord around the goat's neck, so it doesn't run off before I'm done with it.
He does look hungry. What am I saying? I couldn't do that to my only friend. Borrowing from the gods, teasing sheep, stealing just about anything I can lay my hands on. Fine. But I am not going to feed this goat to a tiger. Now, bait, that's an entirely different issue. Might be I can use him as some kind of decoy.
Może tak.
This should put the tiger out of action for a while. I've not exactly got the best shot, though. I could hide behind this tree and lure him over. But if he doesn't cross the water, he'll be on the opposite side of the tree to me. And if he comes to the shore, he'll round the trunk and wind up about 3 feet from my nose. If the sedative doesn't work, I'll have about 500 pounds of furry death on my hands. I'll have to lead him somewhere else and set up a distraction so he doesn't, eat me or anything. I might give this a bit more thought.
Dobra, w takim razie cofnijmy się do wioski i spróbujmy tu gdzieś zostawić przynętę. Tylko na czym bym mógł użyć tego kozła? Gdzieś na pewno będę mógł go przywiązać. Do drzewa.
I'll tie him up here. I hope this works. Meh.
Don't worry, you're not bait. You're just a distraction.
Dobra.
I need to stay here and look for the key artifact.
Ale nadal nie ma tutaj tygrysa.
Hello?
Yes. Any news?
No, not yet. I just wanted to check you were okay.
I am okay. I am safe in here.
Good. Then I'll get going.
Okay, preparations are in place. I'll lure the tiger into the village, then hide behind the tree in the square. While the tiger's busy with the goat, I should have just enough time to hit him with the dart. Let's hope the sedative works. For my sake, as well as the goat's.
Jest i tygrysiątko. Simba. A nie, Simba był lwem.
Do or die. Only one shot at this. Concentrate.
Have you shot it?
No, I've just sedated it.
Sedated? And what happens when it wakes up?
Look, he's injured. There's a nail stuck in his front paw.
Ah, you are correct. He has obviously fallen into a trap.
You set up traps to piss these guys off.
No. Many farmers in this area protect their fields and plantations from all sorts of animals with spiked traps such as these. If a tiger gets injured by such a trap, it cannot hunt in its usual way.
And it gets angry.
It begins to look for easier prey.
Chickens, goats, people.
Exactly.
Okay, let's pull the nail out. Then we can take him out into the jungle and hopefully he'll wake up and wander back to his natural habitat.
This could work. I extend my thanks and the thanks of the entire village to you, stranger.
You know, thanks are great and all, but don't forget our deal. Let me take a look at this guy's foot. You find something we can use to move him.
Okay. I'll fetch a cart, and we can take it to the other side of the valley.
2 godziny później.
Okay, we're done.
Then I will lead you to the old temple as promised. Follow me. This is it.
Here? But I don't see a temple.
Behind me in the lagoon.
What do you mean, in the lagoon?
According to records, there was a narrow valley here in which a temple stood until a few hundred years ago. One day, after a heavy storm, the valley was flooded along with the temple. Since this day, everything that remains of the temple is under the surface of the water. Only this statue standing on the roof of the temple bears witness to what lies beneath.
Do you think anything's still intact down there?
I cannot swim, how would I know?
Okay. Well, thanks for your help.
It was no problem, stranger. I had better make my way to the next village to tell the women that the tiger is no longer a danger. Would you care to accompany me?
Women, you say? No, I really ought to get back to saving the world. Thank you, though.
As you wish. Good luck.
I usually need it.
Okej, no i dotarliśmy do świątyni, moi drodzy. Niestety jest pod wodą. Jedynie co wystaje to ta rzeźba. W jakiś sposób będziemy musieli się tam dostać. Ale moi drodzy, to już jest temat na kolejny odcinek. A tymczasem dzięki wielkie za uwagę, trzymajcie się i do usłyszenia. Hej!